Hey everyone, it's Jeannie, and today I'm sharing this really pretty card created using Trinity Stamps Summer Blooms card kit. So the kit comes with the Summer Bloom stamp set and the coordinating dies. It also comes with one of the Trinity Stamps Perfect Pockets, which is a storage pocket, and it's quite thick. I really like it. I might be replacing quite a few items in my storage for my stamp sets and dies. This fits the 4x8 stamp set as well as the coordinating dies. So I put a piece of cardstock behind the stamp set, and then I actually have a magnetic piece that goes in to hold all the dies, and I don't show it here, but I'm able to fit all the dies that coordinates with it. Also, it comes with 12 pieces of pattern paper. They are 6x9. They are double-sided, and they have a bunch of different patterns that go with the floral theme. Along with that, there are 4 ink on 3 mini ink cubes in fade out ink, sweet petunia pink, marigold orange, and goddess green. There's also the Summer Sparkles exclusive mix of these rhinestones from Trinity Stamps, and I really think it's a super fun kit. It retails for about $72 and is being sold for $40. We also have a blog hop in collaboration with Ink on 3, and we will be giving away a prize over there. So I'll leave my blog post down below. Make sure you stop by, leave a few comments, and have a chance to win. For my card today, I am starting off with my background, which I am using a piece of A2 cardstock using Canson XL watercolor paper. I am stamping 3 of those images in fade out ink. This ink pad was super juicy, so it's a lot darker than normal, and I like to stamp it twice because on watercolor paper it's kind of textured. I had planned to create this background because I wanted to do a bit of ink blending right on top. I'm using goddess green. The cool thing about fade out ink is that it kind of picks up the color that you place on top of it. As I am putting the color on top, it looks green. It's kind of a tone on tone look, and I really like it. So that's going to be my background. Next, I stamped out one of the larger images from the Summer Bloom stamp set, and I am doing a bit of watercoloring. I will say, as I have many times on my channel, I am not the biggest watercolorer. I am not a pro. I am just playing along with it because I wanted to see how this would look. I rarely do no-line watercoloring unless it's a super easy technique, and this one I kind of struggled with, but it kind of worked out. So I'm only using the inks from the kit to create different greens. They're very subtly different, but I do a mix of orange, and I just play with how much green I'm mixing in. And once I lay down the color, I go in and add a few shadows just to add some depth to it. I watercolor really slow, so this video would have been way much longer if I included all the different parts. So I'm kind of skipping ahead. Once you see me color one area and I move on to a similar area, I'm not going to show it. I don't do anything super fancy, but this is your sign that you can try to watercolor as well, because if I can do it, you can do it too. I just go kind of slow and follow along with the lines. The cool part of fade out ink is that it kind of helps you out. The inks do absorb that color, so it kind of adds that shadow look to it, and I really liked how it turned out. For the rose itself, it has a bunch of different petals. So because I'm using watercolors and I don't want them to bleed within each other, I am working with very little water and the pigment. Once I place the pigment down, I will go in with a wet brush and kind of drag it out, so that way you kind of create a blended look or like a faded look outwards. That is what creates the dimension. So all the shadowy areas are kind of where the lines are, and I do go in to add additional layers just so I can create the depth that I really get from Copic markers. I think that that is one of my struggles with watercolors, is kind of like it has a mind of its own, and I use these inks in 2 different ways. One is ink blending and the other is through watercolors, and they work really nicely. There's also re-inkers and things like that, but because these are the colors that are in the kit, I really wanted to focus on that. As you can see, once I finish up coloring the entire floral, I will go in just with additional color and pigment to add in the shadows to create a little bit more dimension. And like I said, I'm not a pro, but I think that it was pretty easy to do as long as I made sure that all the areas that I'm coloring up are dry before I move into a section next to it, because then it'll just kind of blend and you lose that dimension that you are trying to add by adding those layers. For this smaller floral, it was kind of easy to do because it's kind of the same shape, right? And in the middle, there's the stamen, which is a little bit darker, created by the fade out. As you add color on top of it, it kind of turns orange. Later on, I will actually go in and add some green on top of it because I really wanted to kind of make brown and create that dimension and have that really stand out so the orange petals will really pop. I hope I was able to achieve that. I think here it still looks a bit flat, and later on I go again in with additional layer just to add that dimension. For the second large bloom, I really didn't want to do pink because I thought that since I'm not that much of a pro, I would mesh them together and they would kind of just look like one big blob. I decided to mix the pink with the orange to create kind of like a darker red, and that was perfect because just adding the two colors together, it kind of created this coral color, which I really like. It's so pretty and they mix well together. Again, once I finish up the entire bloom, I'll go back and just add a few more shadows in the little crevices just to create that added dimension. I go back to add a bit of color to the orange florals as well to really make them pop and create that dimension. I was so proud of myself because I just don't do no line coloring, and I think that this one turned out really well. So I do use a really small brush, so I'm able to color in those small little details from the stamen. I was just really happy with how it turned out. I think that this was probably one of the harder cards that I've created because I just haven't filmed myself doing no line watercoloring where it wasn't a very detailed image and it was kind of cheating how I did it. This one required going in with layers, and watercoloring is one of those things that I really want to do more of. I just don't have the time, and I just haven't been very patient recently because I've had a lot of deadlines. I've been really busy at work, so it's been really hard to dedicate some time to really focus on just coloring. But I think I might do that the next time the coloring challenge rolls around. I know there's a coloring challenge for the month of August, but I have just way too much going on, and I'm also going on vacation. So I'm debating whether I want to bring like some markers or pens to go with me on my trip so I can color in the meantime or like on the plane. But we'll see what happens. I might be able to practice because I could just take these inks, and since they're smaller, it would be pretty convenient to take along. For the floral itself, it is more or less done. I will take the coordinating die to cut it out because I want to put this on top of my blended background. So that will go in the corner of my blended card panel. And I pulled out the big and bold sentiments because weirdly enough, this kit doesn't come with sentiments, and that's fine because you can pick out any sentiment you want and use it for the card. I really like the big and bold sentiments because they're big and bold, and I think that the font is just so generic and simple that it goes with any card. Sometimes with scripty lettering, it just doesn't go with every single card you want. It just changes the vibe of things if it's kind of off, but I went with the big and bold because it was fun. Also, I stamped it with the fade out ink because I wanted to color it up and make it my own. I will be using the Sweet Petunia pink and the Marigold orange and doing kind of like an ombre blended effect. So I put the pink on the bottom of the letters, and I go in with a thin brush. I really take my time. I don't put too much water on it, and I'm just very careful with it. It looks really good. I really like how it turned out, and I was just super careful with it, and it wasn't too difficult to do. Blending it out wasn't really hard either because the colors kind of fade into each other and the water kind of moves itself. So eventually, once it dries down, you'll really see the orange and pink, and I think that these are just really lovely colors. So once I finish coloring up that sentiment, I will take it to a paper trimmer and actually trim them into two pieces. I pop everything up on foam because I just thought it would be really fun to add that dimension as well. So I add foam on the back of the floral panels as well as the lettering. It also has that shadow look when you look at the card right now, and I just think it's really, really pretty. Even if your blend on your card panel isn't perfect, it works really, really well. I am also pulling out those summer sparkles and placing them all over my card panel. I think that this one is so fun. The colors are filled with blue, yellow, pink, and purple. That's it for today's card. I hope you enjoyed it and you check out the kit. Definitely check out the blog hop because you'll have a chance to win a prize. I believe it will be a gift card. I hope you enjoyed this card, and I will see you guys next time with another one. Bye!